Sports with Rich on this Tuesday night, February 28th. Not live no more. I'll get into that. I got to get out of that. SLG Network, 8 p.m. Tuesday night, February 28th. That's our edition this week, 1 hour. And also live, also on the SLG Network, my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso. We ask you to like, subscribe, and comment. Now, we're not all up going live. We have found out that doing a tape show is a pre-recorded show, works out for all of us. Right now, 1 hour. Maybe we'll go another hour during the week. But that's the whiz, Robert Rizzo. I'm Rich Mancuso. Welcome in again, and thank you, all of you who are watching and for your support this past week as we continue to get the word out about Sports with Rich / SWR. And also on my YouTube channel. And don't forget the social media handles, bottom of the screen. Get us during the week as you always do. Ring 786 at Twitter for me and Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, as well as writing for Latinosports.com, where I am a co-editor with this young man, my young protege. He's in it now for a year and still going, the whiz Robert Rizzo. Also, I write for NewYorkSportsDay.com. Check the content, a lot of it up right now. Whiz, where did they reach you? And welcome in, my friend.
How's everyone doing out there? Glad to be back. Another week, hectic week of sports as always. My name is Robert Rizzo. You can get me on Twitter, RobertRiz994, Instagram, rrizzo4, Facebook, Robert Rizzo. Catch all my daily content on Latino Sports.
And we're sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. Remember, look for the skull. Get energized. That's Skull Fuel Energy. All you got to do is look for that skull. And their website is coming. I've been told it is coming. You'll know more how to get Skull Fuel Energy. And Wiz, well, you know, we have an hour full. We'll go fast and furious. We'll have Billy Coppola coming in a moment, our resident in-house baseball expert also, who writes for Latinosports.com, former pro baseball scout. And we're going to talk a little about this in the Keep It in the Ring segment. Tommy Fury sustains his first loss. Jake Paul does. Not Tommy Fury beat him and gave Jake Paul his first loss. And we'll talk more about that with a lot of Keep It in the Ring, boxing, and some of the wrestling talk. So a lot to do. And we're going to have the fact of the week this week. I know you and Avery are going to like that. It's back.
For sure.
All right, let's talk baseball. Spring training going on. Spring training games have commenced. And you know what I like? The new rule about speeding up the game, the pitch clock. It's working. I've noticed box scores in baseball in the first few days of spring training, exhibition games as they are, how rapid the games are. Nothing going over 2 hours and 50 minutes. 212, 220 the most. That's a prelude to maybe what we're going to see during the season, plus a whole bunch of other rules changes. And to talk more about that now, let's bring in our guest this week, Billy Coppola, writes for Latinosports.com, as well as a former pro baseball scout with a couple of teams with the late Tom Giordano, known as T-Bone. Billy, welcome in, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you. Do you feel it? Spring is in the air here in the East a little bit. I know out where you are out in L.A., it's not spring yet, but baseball is back.
Had snow yesterday. Actually made a snowball. How about that?
Yeah. In California.
You would have thought aliens were landing when the snow was coming down. But anyway.
Yeah. The weather climate. What changes? Let's talk baseball. That's what we're here for. Billy, the rule changes, and they are in effect right now, and we're going to get your feel on that. And then we take a look at the pitch clock, the widened bases at second base in particular, which should increase stolen bases by many. And we have the elimination of the shift, plus a whole bunch of other rules that baseball seems to be getting interesting. This is what the commissioner, Bob Manfred, wanted. The players apparently like the idea out of the new collective bargaining agreement. But then we had the first case of the pitch clock causing some controversy of sorts, which you brought to our attention as well. The Atlanta Braves, Cal Conley, and the umpire. Here's how it transpired. We put that image up. The game is apparently ending on an automatic strike. Bases loaded, 2 outs, full count. The game timer, it would have been, look, this is what you're going to see. Confusion at the beginning. So I'm surprised we haven't seen this much in the first few days of spring exhibition games, but people don't have passion for the game, is what you wrote in your column on New York's on latinosports.com, because I gather, Billy, you're like me, a purist and not into all these rule changes that are going on in Major League Baseball. Am I right?
Yeah, the problem is not, they're going to figure out all these things. The catcher was standing up, the batter's looking at him. He's got his foot out of the box because he's trying to bounce, steps in. The umpires are going to have to figure that out, and they will. And everything, people will get used to change. The problem I have with it is they didn't need to change anything. If they would have taught pitchers how to pitch the way we used to pitch, and that is, you didn't get the signals from the dugout, you didn't get the guys stepping out. The pitcher was ready to pitch. He knew who he was going to pitch against. He studied the hitters. Talking to Jim Palmer and Bert Blyleven about this a couple of years ago, they were like furious that these pitchers can't think for themselves. Those guys used to pitch games that were 2 hours and 15 minutes with advertisings and everything else. So to me, it all goes back to player development. Now, you're not going to get it'll take so long to get these guys to pitch quickly, which they can, and they're doing it now. But they didn't need a clock to teach them, to force them to do that. But obviously, Major League Baseball thinks that that's the way they have to do it because they don't have the time to wait for these guys to develop from Little League all the way up to now.
Well, it was you saw it implemented in the AAA, AA. It worked its way up with these new rules, and the pitch clock apparently worked because times in minor league baseball games last year were reduced significantly. And so far, the results are showing in the first few games in the early going of spring exhibition games. A purist as me, I like to see the game move rapidly, so this could work. It's the confusion that's on top of it. But Billy, also, how long do you think it will take for the hitters to adapt to this? Because it doesn't seem a problem right now for the pitchers. It seems like it's more a dilemma now for the hitters trying to get adjusted to this new rule.
Absolutely. When a batter comes up to the plate, he's looking at the pitcher. He's got to size him up. He's got to see, well, he's on the right side of the rubber, the left side of the rubber. You look at his body language. That's what batters do. And then they look for the pitch. He's only got 8 seconds to do that. I was listening to Freddie Freeman talk yesterday, and he was talking about how it's an adjustment. Mookie Betts leads off. He walks. By the time he gets to first base, the pitcher's got the ball back in his hands. Now he's got to take his shin guard off. He's got to take the arm thing off his elbow, get the oven mitt on for sliding. Meantime, the clock is ticking. So Freddie can't step in the box, and so the pitcher can pitch until he knows his runner is ready at first. So there's a lot of adjustments. Little things like that don't sound like a lot, but to a big league hitter, when they're looking at a 98-mile-an-hour fastball coming at them or a slider or a cutter, that's a big, big, big thing to take away from them. So you're going to see this struggle for a while.
It leads to questions. Also, will production be down with major league hitters with their averages and everything else until they get adjusted to this? Look, baseball players are creatures of habit. You know that. Everyone involved in baseball knows that. Fans should know that as well. Creatures of habit. Yeah. But when you implement new rules such as this, that gets away from the flow of what they're so used to doing. That's why they tested this in the minor leagues at first. I feel it's going to work, and if anything could reduce the length of games instead of 3-hour marathons going down to two and change, 2.5, I'm all for it. Other rules that they've been doing over the last few years, including that bogus ghost runner at second base for extra innings, can do without that. That's ludicrous. Now, your take on some of the other rules real quick.
Well, let me just get back to the pitching a little bit. The pitchers are going to work faster, which gets their rhythm. They get into a better rhythm when they pitch quicker, and they don't have to think as much. And that's the pitch. You're going to see ERAs down, and you're going to see batting averages about what they were before. What's the major league batting average? 233 or something like that.
Yeah,
And
slow.
so we're going to see that. But the shift is going to allow for more hits. Definitely. You're watching games now. The shortstops don't have the range. They weren't developed back in player development with guys that could have the range to cover all that. They had guys backing them up all the time. So you're going to see the kind of a balance there, I think, with that. But all the other rules, they got some really you can't step off more than twice. Well,
Yeah.
they're going to figure this out where you're going to have a guy that will get the pitcher to throw over twice or step off once or twice. Now he can take a 15-foot lead. He can't throw over, and so guess what? You're going to see. Hopefully, they have the guts to send these guys and not be afraid of them ripping their Achilles out and losing them for sweet.
Well, the umpires also will be in on it. The umpires, I'm sure, also will have to adjust to this. They have signals, all types of crazy new contraptions to communicate.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Let's move on now. Let's take it on a couple of things in the National League West, and then the Wiz and I will go back and forth with you on this. Manny Machado off the board now. He didn't exercise his opt-out. That's big for San Diego. $350 million for what, about 10 years? And
11 years.
Those Padres are really with a potent lineup there, with Soto and Tatis and company. And what did you take on that? And their payroll is skyrocketing all of a sudden. A team that really didn't do that over the years.
Baseball makes money. San Diego I think, is going to lead in attendance this year. They had so many sellouts last year. It was amazing. And that was last year. Now they acquired even more. I mean, Josh Hader, he's got to be the best closer in the West right now. Dodgers don't have anything like him. Okay, the Dodgers did nothing, by the way, in the offseason compared to what the Padres did. Padres, to me, are going to overtake the Dodgers this year. I don't see how they can't. They've got, I mean, they extended contracts to Darvish and Musgrove last year. That, like I said, Hader, they're better. And Machado, I thought he was going to go to free agent thing and try that. But to him, I guess the thought of having to play in New York might have frightened him a little bit. He's got all these great players to play around. He sees a World Series possibly there, and I do too, possibly. So they're the number one team in the West right now. Dodgers, like I said, they did nothing. They lost. They lost Trey Turner, Justin Turner, Bellinger. Even though he can't hit, he's a great center fielder. They lost Anderson and Haney as pitchers. They're going with young players. They're going to go with a whole bunch of unproven guys. But, I mean, they won 111 games last year. They're now winning 111 this year. So the Dodgers, obviously they didn't go after anybody in free agency because everyone feels that they're going to try for Ohtani. I don't know about that, where Ohtani's going to end up. He might stay with the Angels. They might give him $500 million. Everybody's making money but me and you, Rich.
Well, I think that young man next to us, the Wiz, he's going to make a lot of money.
Maybe.
Wiz, I know he's got some questions to you about the Dodgers, who also have. No, let's forget they got Noah Syndergaard on the staff. Go ahead, Wiz.
Yeah. Speaking of all the offseason moves, you listed them front and back. Noah Syndergaard was the other one. I believe Tyler Anderson left, or that was the other one. That was it. But where do you see them going from here? Because obviously Julio Urias is the workhorse. Who can be their kryptonite? Because Padres are coming at him full force for that division. Well,
Gonsolin had a career year last year. I don't see he ended the season with a bum arm in his shoulder, and we'll see how he comes back. Kershaw got to be his last year, but he's Kershaw. He's going to get him wins. They got this Dustin May, who's to me still hasn't really proven that he can be an everyday workhorse like Urias is. So they're going to go with some more rookies, but their pitching staff is still pretty solid. Their bullpen, though, let me tell you, if they don't have a lead in the 8th inning, they're in trouble. They really are. They didn't have it last year. That's what hurt them in the playoffs. So, go ahead.
And one last note on the division overall. You mentioned the Padres. You have them winning the division so far. Things can change month by month, as we've seen year by year. But the other three teams, we have an image of the projections: Giants, Rockies, Diamondbacks. Who can be the biggest threat to the Padres and the Dodgers up at the top, containing
Arizona.
with Arizona?
Yeah, the Giants again did nothing.
Really?
Yeah, and Arizona made some improvements. They have this kid you want to watch. His name is Corbin Carroll. I saw him last year at the end of the year. He's a rookie. He's fast as anything. He can hit. But I think the Diamondbacks are going to give well, you know what they're going to give a problem to? The Giants. The Giants did nothing. But if anybody's going to really be a spoiler and could be the difference between the Dodgers or the Padres winning the division, it would be the Arizona beating one of those teams.
Well, you know what? The way
games in a 4-game series.
And it's interesting because the way the schedule is constructed now, they won't be playing many divisional games against each other within the division teams because of this new schedule. Everybody plays everyone at least 2 games during the season, whether it be home and away. But I can't even name one of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Billy.
Trust me,
that is a low budget team out there in the desert that I admire.
You just made me forget the pitcher's name they had.
I don't know one of them.
Gallen, Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen.
But you know, one of the things about playing every team, that's going to give a team like Arizona and maybe even the Giants a few more wins than they would have if they had to play those two monsters 20 games in a season each, you know? So, I mean, that's like you're looking at 30 some odd, 35, maybe 40 games that they would have to face the Padres and Dodgers. You're playing Cincinnati and Pittsburgh and Miami more than, or which you would not have even played. They're going to come up with more wins. And just that pressure of them having more wins behind these other teams. These guys watch, they read the papers, they look at the standings, they know what's going on. But yeah, that's my pick. You know, call me crazy.
Wow.
Colorado's not a pushover either, but
no. There's another team. We got just a couple of holdovers and got to know the rest. But they're teams that are building from within, young, and they work their way up. It's been proven over the years that they can do that in baseball. And now with the new economic system that they have and the structure, it works to the benefit of teams. There's probably no salary cap in the game. So players, you know, teams that want to spend will spend. Teams that don't won't. I wrote about that this week on latinosports.com and NewYorkSportsDay.com for those who want to read about that. And by the way, Billy, your columns on latinosports.com, people out there have to read your content because you are a baseball guy. You come from that perspective as a former pro scout at the ballpark. Who knows it better than you, right, Wiz? Let's go to the National League. Let's go to the American League. Was it the West in the American League? Because the Seattle Mariners, they got in there in the postseason last year, and that young kid, Julio Rodriguez, has just got better and better. What's your take on the Mariners?
You got Ty France, you got Suarez. Suarez is what the heck? He had like 31 home runs, but I think he struck out 196 times. But they've got the hitters. Marco Gonzalez is going to give them innings. You know, they've got Robbie Ray in there. Mariners are going to be a good, solid second place team because 90 wins last year might even win them a division somewhere else, but not with Houston. Not with Houston sitting above them. I mean, that team is like stacked, and for a long time they're going to be stacked. And they just got who was it? Jose Abreu, and they Brantley and re-signed Montero. I mean,
and Javier.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one for the Mariners to climb over. They will make the playoffs. And you never know what can happen in the playoffs. Look what happened last year with the Mets, the Braves, and the Dodgers. I mean, that's it's like hockey.
You know, you have the expanded wild card too, so they have a good legitimate shot as anyone in that division. And Wiz is always intrigued about the Angels and Ohtani and Trout. So go ahead, Wiz.
I'm always intrigued about them. They're the biggest story in town always because Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, how can they not make the playoffs year in and year out? This year, it might be their last year together, obviously. Ohtani nearing free agency. What do you see out of them? Can they make some type of noise in the AL West?
They actually added Tyler Anderson from the Dodgers as a pitcher. They have Orcella they picked up in the trade last year, I think, at the end of the year. But Ohtani, Trout, and Ward, that's it. There's nobody else. The only guy that's kind of interesting to me on that team right now is this how's his kid name? Logan Ohika or Ohipa.
Logan O'Hop of Long Island.
Yeah. He's from Long Island too.
Yeah.
Local boy from New York. I think he could have a breakout year. And you just need a couple of guys like that to move them along. Again, maybe they challenged the Mariners with that had 90. I mean, they were 73 and 89, I believe, last year. The Angels.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, who the heck knows what's going on over there? They've got the money. They making the right picks. I mean, they got the two best players in baseball, and they only have 73 wins. Good night. Obviously they don't have pitching for a long time. Why?
That's
I don't
it.
know why they didn't go out and try and
I don't know, but they go through this ownership situation. If Artie Moreno going to sell or not, they go through their economic structure of that team. And I frankly don't know what direction they're going, what they're doing, but every year it seems like they have the talent to do it, but they don't have the pitching. And they start out strong, and then they completely die in the pack. I talked to their new broadcaster today, Wayne Randazzo. He used to be the Mets play-by-play man on radio in New York. He's a new TV guy out there. He's very high on them. He says that there's a lot of enthusiasm with this team, and they feel that Ohtani and Trout will be just about enough to get him in the postseason. I don't agree with that. But then again, you got the trade deadline at the end of July where something to be done to make that push to get in the postseason finally. And then Mike Trout will get his shot finally.
Yeah, they have to definitely go for pitching. Their hitting is fine. They'll score runs. Don't forget that a lot of these pitchers, if you've seen like Verlander, for instance, or and others, when they become free agents, it's sometimes it's not like Machado. Sometimes it's not about the money. They want to play on a team that they think is going to win a World Series. And the Angels don't look like that to a lot of these high end players that they may have made offers on, but they don't want to play there. But they need pitching. Definitely need pitching.
That they do.
And regarding all the projections, no one's mentioned it, but Bruce Bochy, Jacob deGrom, and the Texas Rangers. Obviously, no one's going to mention the Oakland A's, what they've been doing for years in and years out, not spending money.
Don't make me laugh.
Out of those two teams, who can be a threat to the AL West Astros? Because the projections have it, Astros are running it for this year, perhaps next year, and the whole decade on with Jeremy Pena, Altuve, Bregman, and so on.
Between Texas and the A's, who can challenge that?
Yeah.
That's the question. Neither one. I mean,
nothing.
You already got DeGrom that he's complaining about his shoulder. Odorizzi, Evaldi, you're going to rely. I mean, you want to rely on them as pitchers. They have the hitters. Seager, Garcia, Lowe, Seaman. But,
those guys have to have a bounce back. Seaman, Semien, they got to bounce back. Corey Seager and him after what last year's disaster with all that money that they got in contract. And I do think the Texas Rangers are going to be in there. I don't know if they'll win the division with the Astros. Wild card again, expanded. You could get them in there, but they have a lot to prove there in Texas with all that money that they spent this offseason, Billy.
They were 68 and 94. If they win 20 more games, Rich, 20 games to maybe get the playoffs.
Damn.
Boy,
we don't miss Jacob deGrom in New York, that's for sure. Goodbye. He would have a better chance, as I said time and time again, that I wrote about. Wiz knows this too. I think I've talked to you about it many times as well since that happened. He had a better chance of winning here in New York than he does down in Texas.
Absolutely.
He just didn't like it here. That's what it was. That's just what it was.
Guess so. I mean, the money was the Mets would have paid him if he was. You wouldn't need all the innings out of him with the two other monsters they got there. So it was calculated mistake over who knows what. Maybe, I don't understand. He was loved in New York. I don't get it.
You know, he did retired as a Met and had all the accolades, going to Hall of Fame as a Met, which he will go into the Hall of Fame. But you know what? He's injury prone.
Yeah.
And that we're not going to miss here in New York. It's the Rangers' problem now, not the Mets.
That's a good point. Good point. And, you know, the Rangers, they have a lot of money too. So to them, it's just putting a famous face in the ballpark so that the fans come to the ballpark. And
well,
you know, a lot
no
of teams,
no salary cap. Spend what you want. Tony Clark, the executive director of Major League Baseball Players Association, said a couple of days ago, no salary cap will ever happen in Major League Baseball with the players.
Yeah.
They like it the way it is. Spend what you want, as much as you want, when you want. Do you agree with that?
No, because you're going to have these the Mets and the Yankees and Dodgers and whatever. They get everything. Tampa, Pittsburgh, you know, all the other ones. They don't have the big money making thing going on in their cities. It's not fair, and those fans deserve to see a winner once in a while too. And
That's right.
Rely on good scouting, good luck, nobody getting injured.
Such good points, Wiz, that he makes, because when will you see the Pirates, the Reds, even those holy Oakland A's get back in there, even the Rockies, teams like that refuse to spend the money. And there you go. They'll have losing seasons again. Hey, Billy, this has been great. We're going to have you on again throughout the season. You're a regular here with us. You write for LatinoSports.com. That's where all your great content can be read by everyone. And we look forward to it. Baseball's here. We have a lot of talk about the next 6-7 months. Yep. And that's where people could reach you. I know he's old school. He doesn't have much social media like us, Wiz. So, but he's out there to be read on LatinoSports.com. Billy, my friend, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you, Billy.
Okay, man. Bye.
Billy Coppola out in Los Angeles dealing with the bad weather elements that they're having on that side of the country right now. But you know, I call you the Wiz. He's a whiz with baseball as well. And we have some great baseball analysts and experts here on the program with us. Howie Carpin last week and Billy Coppola, they're not former scout, now a columnist with LatinoSports.com. All right, Wiz, bottom of the hour. You know what that is. We're going to bring it back this week. Fact of the week, sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. Get all your energy needs. Get rejuvenated. Just look for the Skull. And here's our fact of the week this week. Remember, it's not trivia. Avery, come on in. Try and get a crack at this answer now. And if not, as we end the show later tonight, in a while, we will give the answer. I know you two are just waiting for this. You're waiting for it. You haven't had it in a while. So, in 1986, 36 Major League players earned $1 million or more dollars, 17 of them Hall of Famers, all right? This year, I want to know, and this is a fact, not trivia, how many are earning at least $20 million? How many at least are earning at least $20 million or $30 million or more? How many players compared to that figure of 36 in 1986?
So the question is, how many players are making at least 20 million?
20 million or 30 million or more.
Is that a year?
Per their contract, yeah. Per year.
Per year.
How many players you think? Yeah. Compared to the 36 that made only $1 million or more, and 17 of those were Hall of Famers in 1986. Some on this list, will be Hall of Famers on this list, obviously. Think about it real quick.
I'm going to shoot for 73.
What'd you say, Wiz?
73.
No, you're wrong. Go ahead, Avery.
Sheesh.
Let's see, there's 30 teams. Every team's got about 2 or 3 superstars making at least that much. There aren't many.
And 17 are earning 30 million or more. Let me clarify. All right.
At least 17.
But there are 51 players in total earning at least 20 million or more, and 17 are earning 30 million or more. How many players you think total compared to those 36 in 1986?
68.
What'd you say, Avery?
68.
No, you're wrong. You're not too far off, though. All right, think about it. Come back with it later. I don't know if you guys will get it this week, and I hope you don't. If you can get it, leave us a comment here on the program in the comments section. Don't forget, most of all, to subscribe to the YouTube channel on the SOG Network and my channel, Rich Mancuso, and put that like button. Press that as well. Sports with Rich, sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. We'll be back. We have a lot more to do. Stay with us.
Bases loaded, down 1 run, or you're taking the game-winning shot as the buzzer expires. Everyone runs out of energy. Crack open a Skull Fuel.
Yes, Skull Fuel Energy, our sponsor here on Sports with Rich, on the SLG Network and my channel, YouTube. Want your comments? Put them in the comments section, and do like us, and also hit that subscribe button. We want to hear from you. Sports with Rich. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's the Wiz, Robert Rizzo. We continue with Keep It in the Ring, sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. Look for the Skull, get energized. And everyone's still buzzing about Jake Fury's first loss, Jake Paul's first loss to Tommy Fury, a fight, Wiz, that was supposed to happen twice last year, but it finally happened in Saudi Arabia. Preliminary pay-per-view estimates are over 1 million people bought this fight, and me not being one of them. You know, I've been a skeptic of this all the time, but what they're going to do now is, it was said during the post-fight press conference on Sunday night, Eastern time, because Saudi Arabia was Monday over there already, I believe, or late in the night, whatever it is. But Saudi Arabia has become the hotbed for boxing. They're going to do it again. They said they're going to have a rematch. They already said that, which makes you think, how much of this fight can you really look at saying, you know what, do I shell out $74 again or whatever it was to watch these two again? 6 rounds. Jake Paul put Fury down on the mat. And very controversial decision to some extent, because many believe that Jake Paul won it. Some said Fury won it. Close fight as it was. I've seen highlights of it. Didn't watch the fight, like I said. One judge had it 90, I believe. If I look at my scorecard here, for 76-73, split decision. One judge had it for, I believe, Fury, rather for Paul. I keep getting him. Well, anyway, it's over with. They'll do a rematch, and my point is, Wiz, it's all about the money, and they'll make a lot more money again because people are going to buy into it. But I'm not going to fault Jake Paul for bringing in boxing fans. That's his good point here. He finally met a world-class fighter. Tommy Fury really, with only 8 fights, sustained his first loss, really isn't fought anybody significant. And for the time being, rest assured, the WBC is not sanctioning a belt in the cruiserweight division for Jake Paul until they have a rematch, whenever that be.
Oof. What a fight. It was worth the hype. Honestly, going back to September, going back to July, you saw it on Twitter. You saw it all over social media. Fury, Paul, everyone wanted it, and they finally got it. It was worth it. Like I said, it came down to it all the way at the end. Paul got the knockdown in the 8th round, and it was a coin toss.
Why was it worth it? Why was it worth it? I had no interest in it.
Once you're on social media and you're following those two guys with the way they were going at it, you finally gravitate to it.
There you go. And that's your answer.
And the fans gravitated to it, and not just boxing fans. You had NFL fans texting me. You had baseball fans texting me saying, no, I'm not watching spring training today. I'm watching that fight. I got to watch it.
They did it at the right time. That's for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, they're going to have a rematch. That come out of the post-fight press conference. They put on a big event. And the Saudis love it. And that's been a hotbed. A lot of promoters want to go over there. All right. Abella Boxing Promotions, April 1st, getting ready. Fight Night, Bergen County Fight Night 3. Those on the East Coast in that area want to look at that. You'll be there, Wiz, so will I, and I'm a commentary again at ringside with a network to be determined, will be announced next few days. Check my social media and yours as well, the Wiz, on that one. And finally, we have a fight. We have a fight. Finally, Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. And they're calling this, of course, Tank Davis. And Garcia is known as the Phenom. What is his nickname?
King Ryan.
King Ryan. There you go. All right. Showtime pay-per-view. You're going to shell out a lot of money for it. Finally, in Las Vegas, moved to April 22nd now, which is maybe April 15th, but they're going to give it more time. They really don't have to promote it. MGM Grand Las Vegas. And look, it's a generational fight, as I wrote on Latino Sports and New York Sports Day. Look, Hagler Hearns Leonard, Durant brings back that type of a fight. Assuming nothing goes wrong, we finally have a fight. The stipulation that was holding up was the rematch clause, and Gervonta will get that, assuming if he wins or loses. And who televised it? Probably Showtime or Golden Boy, who has Ryan Garcia, will probably have the rights for the next one, or it's a joint pay-per-view. Point is, Wiz, a lot of money, a lot of interest, fight that fans wanted, and we're going to get it.
Finally, forget Fury Paul, forget that hype. This is triple, quadruple worth it. Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia. I talk about it every week. If you know me, I've been waiting for this fight. I can't even remember since when, but we finally got it April 22nd. I have my plans booked. We got to see it. We got to be there live. And if not, I'm going to try to get a 48-inch, a 52-inch, the biggest TV I can to watch.
There you go. Two of the young superstars in the sport as well. And one of the fights of the year. Anticipated, it's coming. A little about 6 weeks or more, a little less, more than that. Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor, Madison Square Garden, Top Rank in June, 140 the weight, junior welterweight. Lopez will continue his takeover at 140, so he says. Josh Taylor had vacated most of the titles at 140. This is for the WBO title at Madison Square Garden. That should be a good one. Look forward to that in June. And Saudi Arabia is discussing more fights, including the announcement that Danny Jacobs, the former middleweight champ, and Edgar Berlanga, who just signed with Matchroom at 168 super middleweight, they're going to probably fight in Saudi Arabia at some point in the late spring. That's going to be announced in a couple of days. And a lot of other fights getting ready. We're still waiting to hear what Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk are going to get it together for the heavyweight championship and unify those titles. But the big news, again, Garcia Davis. That's the biggie. More boxing news next week. And let's go to Keep It in the Ring, sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy as it continues. Get energized. Look for the Skull. And it's the Pro Wrestling Talk briefly. And the rumor for WrestleMania, the matches are coming together. And this one I look forward to seeing because Dom Mysterio looks like he's into an event, inevitable. It's going to happen. Him and his son Ray will go at it at WrestleMania. I don't know if it'll be night one or night two. We do know the second night at SoFi Stadium on Sunday, April 2nd, we will see Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. That's been stated. That's been said. So many matches going on. You got Brock Lesnar and Amos, the big guy, the giant. They're going to do that. Like you're interested, Wiz, but WrestleMania you'll be interested, right?
Definitely. WrestleMania I have to be interested in. You got to be.
And the rumor coming out of AEW with the Young Bucks, the exciting tag team there, and Kenny Omega, the two, their contracts are up. And will Tony Khan renew them? A lot of rumors the Young Bucks and Omega might be both to the WWE. There is a war going on, AEW, WWE, for talent. We're seeing it as they get ready for this one. MJF and Bryan Danielson. Revolution coming up this Sunday on pay-per-view for AEW. That is going to be a everything goes match all over the place. It's almost an hour gauntlet type of, or hour match where falls count, how many wins by how many falls. It's going to be a good one. AEW pay-per-view coming up, Revolution. All right, NBA talk. Here we go, Wiz, the NBA. And the All-Star break is far gone by now, where there was no defense, and there's still no defense in the league, but the Milwaukee Bucks seem to be the hot team right now. And the Knicks and R.J. Barrett look more and more like a serious team that will get a playoff spot.
I totally agree. They've been taking care of business out of the All-Star break. The Knicks 5-game win streak, 2 games winning since the All-Star break, but it comes down to RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Jalen Brunson. They just picked up Josh Hart, great contributor, role player off the bench, but it comes down to RJ Barrett specifically and his shooting. That's been the nagging issue with all Knicks fans across the world right now. Everyone's nagging RJ Barrett on his three-point shot. If he picks that up, Knicks have a shot at the 4 seed, perhaps the 3 seed. Right now, they're at the 5 seed.
No defense in the league, as I keep saying, and you saw this one. 175, 174, double overtime, the second time in NBA history, both teams scored 170 points, that being with the Kings and Clippers. I'm like, come on, who are you kidding here? What was it, 176, 174? I had to score wrong, big deal.
It was insane, let me tell you. 175, 174, double OT, second highest scoring game in NBA history. Both teams scored 40 in the first quarter. Clippers had 43 in the second quarter. Kings had 43 in the fourth quarter. 3 players combined for 45 points each. So,
come on,
like you said, no defense.
I can't watch a game like that.
Just
I want to see defense. I'll say it every. Where's the defense in the NBA?
There is no defense whatsoever. Perhaps they'll add another 6-man, a 7th-man defender on the court just to fix it, because it's not getting fixed nowadays.
Well, why don't they rename the league No Bullshit Association? Or no, what can you get to be in that name? Because, I mean, come on. Or name it No DA. How about that?
No Blocks Association.
Maybe that. That's a better one. Send that intel to Adam Silver, their great commissioner. The Western Conference is shaping up to be a good one in the NBA, defense or not. Those Phoenix Suns are making a little move. Look at the Denver Nuggets right in there right now. And that could be a dogfight down there. Who will get the final spots, Wiz?
The Western Conference is a complete gauntlet. Obviously, you have the Nuggets 5 games up, Memphis and Kings going back and forth for that 2-3 spot. But from the 4 seed all the way to the 12 seed, it's decided within 3 games right now, 4 games, and obviously it's going to change week by week. But lining it out, it's 2.5 games deciding the 4 seed all the way to the play-in. So all those NBA fans out west watching those games late night, get ready, because it's about to get way more exciting as we get to March and April as the playoffs begin.
Now, you're speaking about March, which can mean only one thing. March Madness is here within the next week. Conference tournaments all around the country. And that also, the talk will also be looking at this. A team we know well that we cover in the New York area, Fordham University up in Rose Hill, in the oldest field house in the country, the Rose Hill Gym. And that place is buzzing. They're calling it the Thrill up at Rose Hill because the Rams have their most wins since 1990. They have 23 wins overall, 10 wins in the Atlantic 10 Conference. They are tied for the 3rd spot right now with Dayton and St. Louis. VCU beat them last weekend. That's the team in the conference they have to overtake. That's going to be tough. They're really good. But the Rams are serious, and if they win the conference tournament, it's the only way they'll get in the tournament if they win the A10 tournament upcoming at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York.
Week in and week out, they proved it, making statements that they're legitimate across the A10. The Rams are for real. They're different this year. As you said, Rose Hill is now Rose Thrill. Check out our articles on Latino Sports, New York Sports Day. We covered the team yesterday. We were with Keith Ergo, first-year head coach, Darius Quisenberry. It's a completely different team this year. 23 wins, as you mentioned. This team, going into the A10 conference tournament, they could pull off the upset. Obviously, they're the 3 seed, but no one has them win the A10 conference right now. And if they do, that Cinderella story will continue to live on.
Yeah, and they honored their last big winning team at the Rose Hill Gym on Saturday. They brought back Kenny Charles, one of the all-time leading scorers, and Digger Phelps, who led them to the NCAA tournament, which wasn't as big a magnitude as it is now. They brought the team to the tournament then. That was a team, I was a little kid then. I barely remember it, believe it or not. That's how many years ago it was. Digger Phelps was the coach, and Digger Phelps then bolted to go to Notre Dame. Then the Rams just struggled in the MAC conference, but now they're in the A10. First time they really made an impact in the A10 after all these years, and they keep it rolling. They keep it rolling with 2 games left. Now, March Madness, and we don't have the top 25 latest right now, but it's wide open, Wiz. It keeps changing because you got Houston involved. Gonzaga making their usual move for March. Who are the other strong teams right now? This tournament, I think this year is going to be wide open among the field of 68 with the play-in teams.
There's so many teams you can name just to bet on, be that front runner, pick them right now. Obviously, you mentioned Houston, Alabama, Kansas, UCLA. Those rank up the top 4 as of today, but it could change. Purdue, Virginia, Arizona. I got Gonzaga, Miami, one of those dark horses, maybe Xavier. Any of those Wildcats can get in and make some noise at the right time. It's similar to baseball. You get into the dance, everything changes. The record goes back to 0.
But you're not talking about Kentucky. You're not talking really about Kansas, the defending champ from last year. You're not talking about Duke. These are players in this tournament every year. So the tide has changed a bit. You're talking about Alabama. They are the team, besides Houston as well. So very open, very interesting. Go to the NHL. And did you see this, Wiz? The Bruins goalie, Boston Bruins, who's still atop of their division, Omark, an empty net goal. That very rarely happens in the National Hockey League. And they went over Vancouver. 13th time a goalie did that, and that was incredible.
13th,
goalie scoring a goal.
13th time allowing that in NHL history. Yet Omark he's one of the greatest goalies right now. All-star this year, all-star last year, leading the Bruins all the way this year. Perhaps right now they're the 1 seed in the East, but giving up an own goal in hockey, in soccer I hear it. Not in hockey, you can't have that.
Not in hockey. That is a rarity of a rarity for sure. The MLS, Major League Soccer, which we cover here on Sports with Rich /SWR. Also remember on the YouTube channel of SLG Network and my channel on YouTube, Rich Mancuso. Hit that like button, subscribe, and comment, and we'll get back to you as well. We appreciate that. MLS, they've expanded their playoffs because they have that $1 billion contract with Apple TV. It's now 18 teams going to the postseason, 2 per conference. Very interesting. The playoffs, the opening rounds are best 2 out of 3, and then they go knockout, whatever they do. But very interesting how the MLS, with the new contract with Apple TV, expanded their playoff format.
Very interesting how you see that. MLB, MLS, they're gravitating towards what the NBA did and what the NFL did a few years back. Once you expand the playoffs, you realize that's your product. That's your bread and butter. You got to have more teams in. You said 18 teams. I believe MLS has 30 teams altogether. So that's more than half the teams right there. 18 teams in, that's a great number. MLS just starting up. Let's go NYCFC. Hopefully they get it going. They lost the first game out of the gate, the season opener, I believe. Yeah,
they're young. They lost 2-0 to Nashville. They're young. They're rebuilding. They lost a lot of talent. But a key market for the MLS in New York is NYCFC. The team in you got LA, Miami's pretty good, and also in the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia. They're looking to get back to the MLS final in November. They play a long season. Back to hockey, Wiz. Did you see this in the European EuroLeague last week, a couple of days ago? A player was pushed. A fan came on the field and pushed the goalie on the field, and nothing happened to the guy. Look at this. Just got on the field in Europe and went after the goalie, threw a punch at him, and nothing happened to the guy.
Oh, that is terrible. I feel like we talk about this month by month. Something happens in the NBA, MLS, soccer, and any league. There's fans running on the court, running on the field. Where is security? What is going on with these sports?
There is none.
It is insane.
Without a doubt, that's my boo of the week. Horrible. All right, here's my other boo of the week, and I got a lot of criticism on social media about this. Why in the heck, in the MLB app, you get all your scores, and I'm on it already, and recaps and the whole bit, pitch by pitch and so forth. Why in the hell would MLB put a score up, Braves Yankees in a split game on Sunday? The Yankees split squad. A no-hitter was being pitched in the Braves Yankee portion of their split squad. And in that MLB app underscores no hitter watch. Hey, come on, it's an exhibition spring game. Who cares?
I don't even know what to say with that. What is going on with MLB? You got to fix that app. We've seen it throughout the regular season. The no-hit
I know why they
bids
did that.
and the
I know why they
notifications.
did that. So people could watch it, and then they get more hits.
That's totally fine. I get it. And we've seen it in the regular season, and I hate this. The no-hit bids, you get the notification in the seventh inning.
During the season, I'm okay with it, but not a spring meaningless exhibition game.
Yeah, I totally understand. MLB has to fix that. I'm talking about the no-hit bids during the regular season. You get them on your phone, notifications in the seventh inning that a no-hit bid's going on. They want you to watch the game. You go to check the game. You jinxed it. You got that notification. They jinxed it for you. Everyone out there watching right now knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't think you're going to see many no-hitters pitch this year because of the new pitch clock rule. I don't see
That's
it.
True.
I'm anxious to see how many we get this baseball season coming. And in addition, the World Baseball Classic is upon us, and we'll have more about that next week on the program. I know you like it. I don't, because it's not played at the right time of year. Finally, we're going to wrap up with this, an NFL note. And, of course, the XFL goes on if you like spring stupid football like that, as I call it. But the NFL roster stability is going to be a question now as they enter this important offseason of free agency and so forth. And this note comes up because stability with the NFL teams are this. Your take quickly. 49ers, Eagles, Bills, Cowboys, Chiefs. Bengals, Pats, Packers, obviously with Aaron Rodgers there, and the Chargers all have some type of roster stability. Do you agree with that?
I wouldn't agree with it. Some of the teams, I heard Patriots in there. I don't agree with what the Patriots got going on. Patriots definitely. But other than that, I feel like a lot of those teams were the playoff teams sticking at the end. So Patriots, the one outlier, I'd say. But if I heard the list again, I could just pick and choose. But I'll go with Patriots for number one. They have a lot of issues going. They're not built on either side of the ball, I believe.
We enter March, which means in April, mid-April, I believe it is, the NFL draft. So we'll see what the stability, where that lies, free agency and everything. You know, if you sports nut like we are, it never ends. Never dull. And it seemed like after the Super Bowl this year, when it gets a little dull, it didn't get dull. There was news every day. Somebody's making news or there's something going on. All right, we're wrapping it up. Sports with Rich / SWR on the SLG Network and my channel on YouTube. Like and subscribe and comment as you can. We appreciate it. Skull Fuel Energy, our sponsor. Feel energized, get rejuvenated. Skull Fuel Energy, that's our sponsor on the program. Put that image up again, Avery, before we get to the final fact. Let's see if you guys can get the fact of the week. Let's bring Avery back in. Remember, get energized. Skull Fuel Energy sponsors the program and fact of the week. All right, here we go again. Let's see if you guys can wrap it up the right way with the fact of the week. Remember, it's not trivia. You both took a crack at it. 1986, 36 Major League ball players earned $1 million or more. 17 of them are Hall of Famers. This fact here, this year, how many are earning at least $20 million or more? And 17 of them are earning $30 million or more. A total, how many players total are making at least $20 million or $30 million more compared to that fact of 1986? Do you follow it again?
I follow it.
You know, Rick, I think this might be one of the trip-up questions where he tries to get us with the language, and he mentions a number.
That's me.
I wonder if the figure isn't far off.
Well,
I wonder if
go at it again. Let's see.
I wonder if it's like 38. You know, he said 30. It was 36. No, it's not 38. All right.
No. And all right, Wiz, one more shot.
I'm going to go with 59.
Ooh, you're not far. Not far. Now, I'm not going to say go down, count up. I'll just give you the answer because we're running out of time for the hour. right here on Sports with Rich. It is 51. 51 total overall players this year earning at least $20 million or $30 million or more. 17 are earning at least $30 million or more on their contracts this year. 1986, look at that. That's the key. 36 major league players, $1 million or more, 17 of them Hall of Famers. Maybe I'll give you that next week for the fact of the week to come up with those names in 1986. How about that?
Make it a little project.
Yes, we can. Something to think about. Avery, thanks, my friend. Great hour. Went by fast. Appreciate all your time. And keep it in the ring, my friend. We'll be in touch next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That's our great producer, Avery. Does a great job every week for here on Sports with Rich. On that, Wiz, we end this week. We come back next week again. 1 hour here on Tuesday night on the SLG Network and my channel on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and please comment as you will. I write for LatinoSports.com, where I'm co-editor with the Wiz, Robert Wizzo, NewYorkSportsDay.com, Ring 786 at Twitter, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, my social media outlets. Where did I get you, Wiz?
Thank you all for watching. You can get me, Robert Rizzo. Follow me on Twitter, RobertRiz994, Instagram, RRizzo4, Facebook, Robert Rizzo. Catch all my daily content on Latino Sports.
Sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy, where you get energized. Look for the Skull. That's the official sponsor here at Sports with Rich and the SLG Network. Until next week, everyone, have a good week. We're getting into March. It's March Madness. It's baseball. It's everything. We'll have it more for you here on Sports with Rick next week here on the SLG Network and my channel on YouTube. Take care. Be safe. Be well. God bless. And as always, everyone, take care of each other. What do we say, Wiz?
Keep it in the ring.
Keep it in the ring, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you next week.